James Howells probably made the most expensive mistake in history when he accidentally threw away a hard drive containing more than 7,500 bitcoins. It's been 9 years since he's been thinking of ways to find the $200 million drive, and now he's finally come up with an $11 million plan to search the dump. Keep watching this video as we tell you everything about his master plan to find the lost crypto treasure. First up, don't buy two identical drives. If there's anything we've learned from this, it's that you should never buy two identical drives. And even if you do, you should put a sticker or something on the one with 7,500 bitcoins. If James had bought two different drives, or even wrote something on them, he wouldn't be coming up with crazy plans to search a garbage dump. The 36-year-old was supposed to throw away the drive with nothing on it, but he accidentally threw the one worth around $200 million. Believe it or not, he's been trying to search the dump for 9 years now, but the city council keeps denying his requests, claiming it'll be too expensive and cause too much damage to the environment. Howells has figured out a way to deal with the expensive part, but we're still not sure what the council means by damaging the environment, like it's literally a dump. What could be more harmful for the environment? Unless the city council has their own search underway. But no, it's probably not that. Maybe it has to do with the fact that James would literally have to go through 110,000 tons of garbage to find the lost drive. And still, there's no real guarantee that he'll actually find the drive or something. What if it got wet? Or what if it got crushed? The city council is probably looking at this from a really rational standpoint, but being rational must be difficult with $200 million on the line. Anyway, we're big believers when it comes to miracles, but this plan just seems a little too far-fetched if you ask us. We're talking 9 years. 9 years that hard drive has just been covered with junk in the blistering sun or the wet and windy winters. So yeah, James probably can't sleep at night, but if his request gets denied this time too, we think he should seriously consider wrapping things up and moving on. Next, straight out of a movie. Honestly speaking, we have to give James credit for coming up with such a brilliant plan. It's like he's Nick Fury putting together a team of Avengers. The only difference being, the Avengers are actually a team of experts in areas like landfill excavation, data extraction, waste management, and AI, power sorting. Oh, and there's also an advisor who worked alongside authorities that recovered data from the black box of the crashed Columbia space shuttle. We're not gonna lie, it's like straight out of a movie. But you're probably wondering though, what's the plan? And how are these guys going to use their expertise to find the hard drive? Well, the plan involves a large conveyor belt, robot dogs, AI-powered machines, and human sorters. James didn't really give a lot of details on how things will work, but judging from the robot dogs and everything, we sort of have an idea on what may happen. The AI-powered machines will scan garbage on the conveyor belt and try to pinpoint anything which looks like the drive. Robot dogs will scavenge the dump day and night, scanning the landfill, and the human sorters will go through everything similar to the drive. Oh, and he's also budgeted for 24-hour CCTV cameras in case someone decides to dig up the drive for themselves. Anyway, this is the first version of his master plan, and it'll take around 3 years, coming at a price of $11 million. This is the most expensive option in his plan, but he also has another version which will only cost around $6 million and take 18 months to search the entire dump. He still has to present these plans to the city council though. James is super hopeful things will work out in his favor, but we're really not sure whether he'll get permission or not. We're hoping he does, but even then, what if he spends $11 million and finds nothing? James must have a really hard time sleeping at night. But what's in it for the people? Venture capitalists Hans-Peter Jaberg and Carl Wendeborn have promised James they'll fund the project if he's able to get the council's approval. Both VCs have called it a really high-risk investment, but you know what they say, everything big comes with a risk. If he actually finds the hard drive, Howells has promised to keep only 30% of the bitcoins, giving away the rest to investors, the recovery team, local causes, and to each resident of Newport. Considering how 30% comes out to almost $55 million, we think it's a pretty sweet deal. But all that is a discussion for after the drive is found, and frankly speaking, the chances are very slim. Still, if the recovery team is able to find the drive, a data scientist claims that there's an 80 to 90% chance that the data will be retrievable. And even if the metal or glass platter is damaged, some data would still be retrievable, meaning you could still salvage some BTC. Anyway, Howells knows his plan is still in the pipeline, and there's a pretty big chance that the council won't give him approval. All he says is that he doesn't think too much about what he'll do with the money if he finds it, since it'll pretty much dry drive him crazy. Time for some more on crypto. Up next, a mega hack. Speaking of lost crypto, did you know that more than 7,900 Solana wallets have been drained of nearly $8 million in what's being called a mega hack? Experts are still backing Solana since the flaw isn't exactly in the blockchain. It has something to do with the wallets. Whether it's with the blockchain or the wallets, we don't really care. At the end of the day, it's their duty to maintain security. And you know what's really freaky about all this? The transactions are all signed off properly. That basically means the hackers had access to inside user data, including private keys and phrases. Who knows, it may even be an inside job or a third party with access to Solana's data. The hackers mostly went after USDC and SOL, but we also heard how some super expensive NFTs are a part of the score. Hardware wallets remain unaffected by the hack, which is sort of a wake-up call for everyone to invest in a good wallet. Let's talk about Grizzly.fi. Let's face it, a lot of people have turned away from staking and mining after 2022's devastating market crash. For starters, these platforms were CeFi, and the developers and executives just had too much control with what they could do with the lenders' currencies. And as for mining, well, the cost to mine currency end up exceeding what you're actually making. But what if we told you there's a new platform in town that could possibly change the way crypto is staked? And yes, we get it. You're probably wondering why we are even talking about staking when there's literally firms collapsing left and right. Think of it this way. The guys at Grizzly.fi are opening their platform on the 8th of August, and that's after the crash. So they've had a pretty good chance to look at what to do and what not to do. And also, you know how they say, the best time to build is in the bear market. If everything goes well, this platform could change everything about the lending landscape since it's really big on making things simple. Anyway, we'd still advise you to do your own research and check things out before staking your currencies on the platform. But keep your eyes peeled. Finally, a $300 million drop? Are you ready for a huge Bitcoin sell-off worth approximately $300 million? You heard that right, almost $300 million worth of Bitcoins were moved by miners in just one day. It's being called the miner capitulation. This phenomenon usually happens when miners get together and sell whatever they've mined to cover their expenses for the year. It's cool and all, but what does it mean for the market? Well, you can expect some selling pressure on Bitcoin since we're about to witness a $300 million drop in its market value. In the worst case scenario, it may even trigger another small sell-off, creating pressure on altcoins as well. Anyway, this usually happens when the cost of mining one Bitcoin exceeds what Bitcoin is actually worth. So before it falls any further, miners probably want to cover everything they've spent so they have enough to continue their operations. But still, expect some downfall in the coming days. That's it from our side, folks. So, what do you think? Should the city council give James approval to dig up the landfill? Is it even possible to find a hard drive in a 110,000-ton dump? Let us know in the comments below. Remember, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more exciting videos in the future. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you next time.